Hey everybody, welcome back to another Judgment commentary of Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Ultra Romantic. But today, I'm going to be checking out episode 2. But last time in episode 1, a great start to season 3. In my opinion, I thought that episode was just full of good times all the way through. But it started off pretty light with the first segment where Ishigami notices that Miko had failed to plug in her headphones correctly, so all of the stuff that she was listening to was, well, everybody in the classroom would have been able to hear it. And unfortunately for her, she seemed to be listening to some relatively embarrassing stuff, specifically a recording of a bunch of hot guys saying encouraging phrases. Like, oh, you're doing great, keep it up, you're gorgeous, that kind of thing. And Ishigami, being the nice guy that he is, wanted to spare her the embarrassment of having everybody in the council hear that, so he decides to sacrifice himself on this one, and he sets it up so that he unintentionally doesn't plug his headphones in all the way and something embarrassing plays off of his phone, so that hopefully Miko will notice that her own headphones aren't plugged all the way in. Unfortunately though, it didn't work. She didn't notice it and everybody heard what she was listening to. Didn't seem to have any long-term consequences for her. She walked home perfectly fine, unlike Ishigami, who was quite distraught over it. Then, in the next segment, Miyuki was mere inches away from having an ultimate win over Kaguya, getting her to confess, but just barely didn't make it. You see, he had been texting Kaguya a couple times over line, and she was not messaging him back. She couldn't, think of what to say. She was getting some anxiety over that, but she thought, it's fine. I've got time to think about it because I can just say that I didn't see the messages until just now. Unbeknownst to her, that read receipts exist. So Miyuki was well aware that she had seen his messages. Not only that, but since he sent her a new message while she was looking at them, he was able to tell that she had just been staring at the messages the entire time, giving him the perfect opportunity to accuse her of liking him. And he was about to do it too until Hayasaka stepped in and pulled Kaguya out of the oven on that one. She spun the situation that, all of Kaguya's messages have to be screened by me or another maid before she sees them, so of course all of the messages read immediately. So poor Miyuki, he was so close, but then he ended up feeling real bad for her coming to that conclusion. And lastly, we just had a friendly arm wrestling match between everybody in the council. It was sparked between Fujiwara and Ishigami. They started getting all up in each other's faces about who was stronger, and Fujiwara offered to just engage him in arm wrestling. And then everybody else got roped in, I guess, just for the fun of it. And it was lighthearted stuff. Kaguya proved to actually be very formidable thanks to her training pulling a bow in the Season 2 opening. And Fujiwara, being Fujiwara, decided to try and cheat in her match against Miyuki by just shifting her hand slightly up towards his fingers, which, by the way, one of you told me, is technically not an illegal move, but what is illegal is trying to do it while they're setting up the match. So if she had just waited and started to do it in the middle of the match, she would have fared better instead of being disqualified. But in the end, the finals were between Kaguya and Miyuki, and at first, neither of them were really trying. Kaguya because she just wanted to enjoy holding Miyuki's hand, and Miyuki because he's like, I want to win, but I can win anytime I want, so might as well just have some fun with this. But unfortunately for him, Kaguya's hands started to get a little sweaty. She freaked out and then just immediately slammed his hand to the table, declaring her the ultimate muscle queen. So yeah, last episode was packed with just as much wacky antics as I've come to expect from Kaguya, but for now, let us just begin with episode 2 and see what wacky antics this one has in store. Ah yeah, such a nice character-driven episode this time around. A heavy emphasis on building everybody up, character-wise. Such as, right out of the gate, just trying to mediate the differences between Ishigami and Miko. It didn't go well. I mean, even by the end, it only kinda worked, in a neutral sort of way, but man, I feel bad about Ishigami though, when Miko couldn't think of anything nice to say about him. Not one thing. Dang. He had all those kind of things to say about her and she had zip. But I think I can agree with the assessment that they had by the end, that they're kind of like that, elementary school kid thing, where they both like each other, but they don't know how to handle those feelings, so they just kinda be really mean to each other. I mean, judging by their actions, it would seem as though they have some fondness for each other, just by how much they help each other behind the scenes, just constantly. Without even being asked to, without being prompted, nothing. It's just, oh, I see they're in trouble, better help them out. Even Ishigami going out of his way to send her that heartfelt letter with the flower in it, I mean, that's a pretty bold move. Goes beyond mere kindness. It's not like he slipped her just a casual Valentine one day. This was no I choose you moment. But of course, when they were presented with this potential of them actually secretly liking each other, they just kind of broke down emotionally and became robots, repeating over and over,
"Oh yeah, I actually do quite like you."
So I guess in the end, Osaragi's plan was a success. Of sorts. I mean, we'll see how well this mediation works going forward. And then basically we got a continuation of that previous episode where Hayasaka tries to win over Miyuki. This was basically her getting a second shot at it because she was feeling annoyed about Kaguya having more freedom to just go out and have fun, unlike her. And honestly, it seemed to be going well in her favor for the most part until she decided to bail after hearing his atrocious singing voice. I mean, after Miyuki heard her sing, it seemed he was very much smitten by her. Like he couldn't resist. He's like, oh, this is bad. Also, she said that she wanted to be honest with him and that she would show him the real her, and in exchange, he would show her the real him. I don't know if anything happened with that. If there was any truth or honesty going on, maybe they were gonna do the karaoke first and then do that. I'm not sure. But now, I'll take this opportunity to breathe life into the background characters here. We've got Kazamatsuri Go, I think that's how you say that, right? The dude on the left, a new blood like Shirogane who enrolled in Shuchin to find clues on the whereabouts of his missing older brother. Wow, that's interesting. He solved multiple difficult cases and then assistant to Echizen Hajime, the detective of the financial world, before finally reuniting with his brother. That sounds very familiar. Probably not referencing anything in particular, but I don't know, this detective of the financial world. They sound like a neat character. Maybe we'll see him someday, who knows. But Toyosaki Saburo, gosh, I'm just terrible with these, sorry, but used underhanded methods to compete with Shirogane's grades in the past, but ended up challenging him and losing fair and square. A man burning with passion, like Ishigami, whose eyes open only when shit gets real. Neat. And then the next segment just continued off of the last one with Kaguya. You know, she tried to do the Hail Mary there with Fujiwara, but she was too late. She misunderstood everything that was going on in that room, and just hearing what was happening, reading it more like in my case, reminded me of the OVA, only without the gratuitous visual aid. But then it was just revealed that Miyuki, in fact, is not good at rapping because, I mean, yeah, they trained him to sing that one particular style so they could do that performance, but rapping is a whole other type of thing. And we heard his singing of those regular popular songs, and it didn't sound too bad. A little strained, for sure, but not as atrocious as his previous singing. Apparently it was sea cucumber-like. And I loved the PTSD Fujiwara got when she heard her mumbling about Miyuki's singing. Because that was probably the most arduous thing that she endured. Not helping him train for volleyball, no. The helping him sing, so much worse. But in the end, Kaguya and Hayasaka came out of that with a greater understanding of each other, you know? Realizing that they have some things in common, and that they may as well be like sisters. With this last shot, I'm sure that Hayasaka won't have to make any more attempts at Miyuki here. But it was nice to see some honesty from her, directly telling Kaguya how she felt about it. Also, she did get a little bit of honesty out of Miyuki, getting him to admit that he puts on a bit of a facade and doesn't let his real self show through as much. There's not too much that he really seems to be hiding about that, but it's mostly his feelings about Kaguya. He pretends to be all aloof and confident about it when really he has no friggin' idea what he's doing. But hey, that was a really good episode too. full of really good character stuff and just as wacky and hilarious as any other episode. So for now, I think that's all I gotta say on the matter. So thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed. Subscribe to be updated on more. I would appreciate that a lot. But next time, we got episode 3. We'll see where we go from there. No real hints about what we may be dealing with, but perhaps we'll get to see some improvement relationship-wise between Ishigami and Miko now that they have robotically admitted their affinity towards each other. Don't know, man. Really don't know. But Season 3 has started off on a good foot so far. Not a dull moment to be had as of yet, but we'll see how it continues with Episode 3. But until then, I will see you guys later.